Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. To say I know what I'm doing would be the biggest, grossest overstatement you could ever possibly hear. Somehow or other, that has got to go in there, secure and safe, and go round to Postman Pat this afternoon with guaranteed delivery by 1 o'clock tomorrow. That's the theory, that's the plan. Now, the first thing, I had a hell of a job getting a box. Although that tree doesn't look very big, when you actually look at the size of the base and the height, that's a big box. And it's only just, I hope, within the limit. You're allowed up to 60 centimetres. Well, this is like right on 60. So I hope the lady in the post office is going to be nice and accept it as 60. Seems to be a fraction over, but there's a slight distortion in the box, you know, where it's been opened. Anyway, the first thing I had to do is reinforce the box, because this, if you look at the top, that with a tree strapped to it would not have a lot of strength, especially with a handle hole. So what I had to do was I had to reinforce what will become the base, and I got another heavy duty cardboard box, cut the two sides off, and I've glued them to the bottom of the box. So that's now 3 thicknesses of card on the bottom of the box. And the idea is to sit the tree in there, wire it to the bottom of the box securely, so that effectively the pot cannot wobble around or move in any shape or form. That means the rest of the tree doesn't have to be packed or secured. But as a precaution, I'm also going to put a piece of wire in the side round the trunk and out the other side. And that should guarantee its safety. The idea is that it sits in the box and can't move. So the only thing that can go wrong is if the box gets crushed. And yeah, I'll be after Postman Pat's backside if that happens. So anyway, I'll stick the camera on the tripod. If things start getting a bit agitated, polite phrase, I may have to take the soundtrack off, and in addition to that, it might end up taking too long and end up being boring. I'll speed it up if that happens. But yeah, I've never packed a bonsai to be posted before. I have unpacked a few, so I know that this is sound in theory. In practice, it might not be as easy as it sounds, but we will give it a go. That's the plan, that's the theory. Wire the pot tight to the bottom of the box, wire the trunk to the sides of the box, seal it up, stick the address label on, and take it round to Postman Pat this afternoon. It's a little local post office. They only collect parcels once a day, which is late afternoon, just before they close basically. So yeah, so I don't want it to be in the box too long, so I've sort of left it to actually film this, you know, until closer the time, rather than do it the day before or anything daft like that. Defeats the object of doing the guaranteed by 1 o'clock if you're going to leave it in the box for 3 days before you post it. Anyway, I will do what I can, and we shall see how it goes. So I'll stick the camera on the tripod and we'll give it a go. Right, now it's difficult to do this. If I film it from the side, you won't see anything, because I'm going to be working like inside the box. If I put the camera too far behind me, I'll be stood in the way. So, you know, it's not exactly a perfect world. But the first thing we need to do is get the tree right out of the way while I waggle the box around, because there's some waggling to do. So, let me just get something. My daughter gave me some fragile tape, and you know, I've written top on all the sides and on the top to give them a clue which way up it goes. I'll even stick the address label up that way so that you have to have it like that to read it, and hopefully they'll keep the box upright. But if the pot's secured well enough, it won't matter either way. Right, so what I wanted to do was, first of all, it's going to go, this box is slightly deeper than it is wide, so the tree will go in that way. And now you can see it only just fits. It does touch the sides in places, so be it. But I just wanted to know roughly where the pot is so that I can make sure the holes for the wire are going to be tight. Right, that's that bit. All the wildlife falling off in the box. You're going to wake up in a strange place if you get posted. Right, so I'm going to try and make the holes through the bottom of the box with my pointy scissors. If that doesn't work, I will try something else. Now the idea is that the two wires will be towards the end of the pot and pulled tight. I think they will have the most grip in that position. So I'm just going to hopefully push these scissors through from the top initially. Hopefully this is going right through. As I say, there's 3 good thicknesses of card here. We've gone through. Yes, I can see where the holes are, so I will just make them a little bit bigger on the outside so that we don't get hassles pushing the wire up through. That's my start point. Where'd that one go? Wildlife everywhere. All this wildlife would be safe as sound in the garden, but I'm in my orchid grow room here. I do not want outside wildlife in here. It would be like somebody from Scotland emigrating to Spain as far as the climate was concerned. And we don't want to encourage them. Right, so that's those two. Now I want to know roughly how high up the box to come in from the sides to grab hold of the trunk. Stop it, help stop it waggling. So if we pick a piece of trunk there, so that's about there then. I'll get it right opposite where the trunk is so that it's a nice straight line, and then stick the scissors through and stab your finger. That's a good start. Right, there we go. So that's all my holes done. Now I shall get the wire in place, and then we'll put the tree back in and wire it, and then I can seal the box. A nice new coil of wire. I'm using a relatively sturdy wire. I could probably get away with using a thinner grade, but you know, I'm only going to post this once, and I think it will be more secure if I've got a piece of wire that I can really wind up tight with the pliers and really secure that pot to the base of this box. As I said, in theory, if that is done properly, then in theory we don't actually need the wire coming in from the side, but it's going to get it anyway. We're going over the top here. Now what do we want then? We want enough to come up through the box and round the pot. So yeah, something like that. It's probably miles too much. In fact, I know it's miles too much. We'll go down there a bit. And we need another piece about the same length. So, somewhere about there. And I'm going to wire the pot to the bottom of the box first. Get that nice and secure. And then we'll worry about the little one that goes across to hold the trunk. So we're going to go in there. This is a little bit like wiring the tree to the pot. If you think about it, it's the same sort of principle, isn't it? You're doing it to stop the tree waggling around. This bare wire on the outside of the box will have to be covered. So I will be going round with duct tape to go over the top of where the wire is. That's what I want to do. I don't want Postman Pat worrying about the wire. So if it's taped over, then Postman Pat can't see it, can he? He, she or it. Now just hope those 3 layers of cardboard are enough to hold this securely in place. And we'll get the front 2 wires out of the way and the back ones. And once I put the tree in and I do the wire up, it's in there for good. It ain't coming out again. So it's in there. Make sure I've got a sort of even space behind it and in front of it. And the trunk lines up with the 2 holes in the side. Now this is going to be very difficult to wire the back of the pot because I can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to have to feel it basically. If I come over there, it's going to be very difficult to do this up with the pliers because I really can't see what I'm doing. But we will have to work with it. This is almost impossible. If I get down here, I'll never get up again. No room to move. Let's see if I can put the pliers upright and come down on it and get a twist. This is almost impossible. Ow. Pinch my fingers, why don't you? If this isn't done up securely, then the pot is not sitting on this base of the box securely, and it can wobble, and if it can wobble it can move around and end up all over the place. That's not bad at all. That's one done. And then we'll come round here and we'll offset this one to the side slightly so that it'll be easier to get the pliers on it. Somewhere about there. Cut those ends off so that the pliers will go. Oh, hang on, that twist doesn't look very good at all. We've only twisted 1 wire, that's why. That happens sometimes. You've got thicker wire. You think you're twisting the pair and you're only twisting one. And the other one's dead straight up through the middle of the sort of coil. That's not how you want it. Right, cut those off. And hopefully we can get the pliers on there and pull this one nice and tight as well. But this time I can actually get at it easier with the pliers because I can see what I'm doing. Just pull this round nice and tight. Well, that's got it. It's not going to move, is it? Cut those ends off. Message to Gavin if he sees this before he opens the box, because I'll be posting this video later today. If you see this before you open the box, remember there's some jagged wiry things in here. Watch your hands. You cut thick wire like this with wire cutters, it does leave quite a jagged edge, so go steady. Make sure you've got your wire cutters handy when you go to take it out of the box. Right, I'm happy that that's now secure, and quite honestly, it doesn't really need anything to hold the trunk, but we'll do it as a precaution. We'll just do it as a precaution. Of course, now I've been silly, haven't I? I only made 1 hole. I'm going to have a loop of wire, aren't I, going around the box itself. And I think we will do it with thinner wire than this. I'll go and get some thin stuff. this is very thin wire, but it is really just to stop a little bit of waggle, which there isn't really any. I could do without this completely. In fact, I think I will. It's an overhead that's not necessary. Right, so no packing, completely empty. And I'm going to turn the box over sideways now and see what happens and see if the tree moves. Because I know Postman Pat's going to tip this on its side. Fine. A little bit of media fallen out, but not a lot. The media is quite solid. I think this was repotted last spring, not the one just gone, so it's been in there a while. But it's okay. And I don't think all the media is going to fall out because it's held in with moss. And it should be okay. Right, now the bit that I'm worried about is when I do that and I do that, if these two bits are left loose and floppy, this is not very strong. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to get some glue and I'm going to glue this to that and then this to that. Now I know that's only one side, but once it's glued, this is in a position that's held, and I can then put some glue on this and hopefully it'll grab hold of that, and that makes it really nice and firm. Now, there's nothing else to go inside of the box, so let's go and get some glue. I'll be back. Right, this is just ordinary multi-purpose strong glue. And the instructions for this are, if it's a non-absorbent surface, you have to put it on both and leave it for a bit. If it's an absorbent surface, you just put a good coat on one and stick it, basically. Just get on with it, basically. So I'm going to put a fair old bit on here. The idea being that it just holds all these three pieces together, and by holding them together, hopefully they gain strength. That's my theory what I have. I bought this glue donkeys years ago, and I must admit I expected it to be rock solid in the tube, and it's not. Right, so now what we do is we pull this in nice and tight, press it together and hope it grabs hold. No, it's not going to do it, is it? It's going to be one of these things that I'm going to have to hold in place until it sticks. So I could still be here at lunchtime, couldn't I? Is there another way to do this? Yes, there is. Mother of invention. If these staples are long enough to go through, then by stapling this, have we got any in there? It's empty. Oh dear, oh dear. I'll be back hopefully before the glue dries. I've got to go find the staples now. Goodness knows where they are. Well, that was easy. Normally when you look for something that you haven't seen for a very long time, you can't find them because you can't remember where the hell you put them. But these were up with my other sorts of stationery. Let's just make sure that works. Yes, and whether I've got the strength to push this through or not, I don't know. Because I've got to hold the bottom and press the top. That's got it! Yay! You just love it when a plan comes together. Now I've got to do it left-handed, haven't I? We've got it. By Jove, we've got it. Now that should allow the glue to set as well, because it's touching. Now we're going to do the same. Sorry, that's annoying me. Now I did a video on this when I actually offered it if anybody wants it. I'll put that video up. What should I do? I'll do it as an info card so that you get it like now. But what it will be a look at this when I trimmed it at the date of that video. So you can see how much it's grown since then. which is one of my main reasons why the workload on this, for me, you know, with 150 odd orchids to look after, and a garden, and bonsai, etc., Orchid Society, duties and everything, this tree gave me a little bit too much work. Oh, of course, now I can't staple this side, can I? Just can't get the stapler inside. How do we do this then? I think the only way I can do this is to get the tape on there. And then hopefully some of the glue will hang on. Right, I'll be back and then we'll get some tape done. Right, I'm going to use duct tape because the parcel tape I've got is not very strong. This stuff is. So, first job then is to stick one right along the length of the top. And that will pull this down onto the glue and cover up the crack. I'm just using my body to push it in so that it's as tight as it can be. But I need to do that once I've got the tape over the full length. And I can push it in and drop the tape on. And then hopefully that glue will grab hold of something now. So skizzers. Right, so that's that. Make sure the tape sticks. Right, that's that. And then I'm going to put some tape over the handles. That will stop nosy postman Pat peeking in the box. Not that it would matter. I just don't like the idea of a hole in the box, basically. So we'll cover that up. Do the same at the other end. Well, actually, the other end is a bit different, isn't it? Because the other end has got the wire on it. Now, this is. I'll have to do this at an angle because the weight of the tree is here, and it's trying to stand the box up. Which is good eventually, but not now. So I just want to cover this wire up. That's the idea, so that it doesn't actually show. And I want that relatively thick, so I will put a piece on like that covers the wire up. And then I'm going to put a piece right round. So we'll come round from the side this time and go across. Make sure it's firmly held. That's that one. I'm making this up as I go along, you know. As I said, I have received boxes that were packed in a similar manner, so I'm not sort of making this up. I am sort of following a sort of known path that others have tried, and the people that have tried, that have sent me trees, are traders. They should know what they're doing, and they should be packing up often enough that it's just like second nature to them. So that's the wire covered up. I've done an address label, which obviously I won't film that. We don't give out people's addresses. Worth remembering that when you're unboxing stuff or unwrapping stuff and you're filming it, remember your address label, either take it off or cover it up, or the whole world, literally, YouTube, will know where you live, and that may not be what you want. Right, now we secure the cracks. Should do like that. Right, that's that end done. Now this is not sticking as well as I would like because I can't put pressure on it. Should do it. Because obviously as I try and push the tape down and put pressure on it, the cardboard gives way. That should do it okay. Right, and we'll put a piece across here. Preferably without covering my words top up. I did write those a bit too close to the top really. Yeah, well the thing is when you're doing one thing in isolation and you haven't seen what's coming next necessarily, you know, in practice, it's easy to make little mistakes like that. But I can always, you know, I've got the felt tip pen, I can always write top again in several places. I'm probably not going to take a blind bit of notice of it anyway, so why I'm bothering. But at least it's going with Postman Pat, and relative to some other couriers I could mention, they do take a bit more care. There are some carriers that would pick that box up and throw it to the end of the van, next one, and they just throw them in, not stack them carefully or anything, they just chuck them in because they want to be on the road, bang bang bang, home. They don't really care, they don't get paid enough, they don't get paid enough to care. And that's all our fault. Anything where people are not getting paid enough to do the job is our fault, because we want it cheap. So you can blame yourself. Everything that you want cheap, to keep down prices, wages is one of the things that are, that are restricted. Well, that's it. So, put a bit of this fragile tape on, wrap that round a couple of times. Oh, Hannah, that's my daughter. I was just going to say, have you, no, she has kicked the end over, talking of which I need to do that as well. Kick the end over, then you can find it next time. What's this look like when it's at home? Oh, it's quite good. So we'll just go round the box, basically. So this is my daughter's tape. She has a little eBay business that she does. So she's got all the stuff you need for wrapping, and you know, she's got all the stuff. Whereas I don't post stuff off, I tend to have stuff coming in rather than going out. So I haven't got all the stuff. But she said, I've got several rolls of that, so if you take one, and if you don't use it, I'll have it back next time I see you. So we have the ability to go right round. Now, quite honestly, one should be enough, shouldn't it? Because whatever side you're looking at, you can see the word fragile. Putting another one round here, to me, serves no purpose. What's the point? I've said it now, but what I will do is put some on the top. So, you know, I'm still turning that over cautiously. I will put some on the top. And if we put one up that way, oh, I can't. I'll have to do it that way. It's because of where I've written top. I obviously don't want to put the tape over the top. So we'll come up the side, go across the top, and down the other side. See if we can we'll get a whole word and cover up that one. Can't win, can you? No, actually I'll take it off there. Right, so that's our fragile tape. What would be nice, I haven't got any in Nora's Hannah because it's not the sort of thing she deals with, would be the same as this but with live plants written on it. That would be a nice one to have. Anyway, that's it. That's how it's going to go. And I'm hoping, oh yeah, I was just going to say there is a weight, over a certain weight would increase the postage. But providing that box is allowed as 60 centimetres, because the way they do their boxes, you have a maximum like length, maximum width, maximum depth. But then they add the three together and that must not go over a certain size. And then there's weight restrictions within. And if you go over the top, I think Postman Pat says, well, that'll have to go parcel force rather than post office. And they're more likely to chuck stuff around. That says 59.5. It's under 60, I don't care how much, that is under 60. Just. The other two don't matter, they're way underneath. Okay, so that's going to have the address label stuck on, and I will whiz it round to the post office later today. So Gav, your tree is on its way today. Whether you see this video or not, I don't know. I'll obviously send you an email. Once I've got the tracking number and obviously the actual cost of the postage, because I don't really know what that's going to be until they tell me, then I will send you an email with those details. And hopefully this will be with you by 1 o'clock tomorrow if their guarantee is worth its weight in gold. We shall see. I know I've used the guaranteed by 1 o'clock before to an address in deepest Wales, West Wales, so if you go any further you fall in the, whatever it is, Irish Sea, isn't it? But the lady in question said you can use the service guaranteed by 1 o'clock, but it won't get here by 1 o'clock. It usually gets here about 2:30, 3 o'clock. But it will be on the right day. And it's just that it's such a vast area with just a few houses that it takes a long time to get between each of the houses. And they can't guarantee them all by 1 o'clock. They'd have to start the day before. So, yeah, that's it. That's as good as I can do. And hopefully it'll get there safe and sound. Thanks for watching. I don't know whether that was interesting, boring, entertaining, and possibly all three. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.